Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Sustainable Business Club's panel discussion on corporate responsibility and the automotive industry. Many of us as students are concerned about the environmental issues facing the world. As we know, driving gasoline-powered vehicles is a main source of pollution. So we took an informal survey of our undergraduate students, and over 90% of those surveyed said they were concerned about the environment. As for their transportation habits, 52% of the students surveyed said they drive a car to campus, while 48% use some alternate form of transportation, like biking or walking. Interestingly, a whopping 82% of those same students expect they will have to drive cars after graduating, while 12% intend to use public transportation, like buses or streetcars, and only 6% expect to be able to travel by bicycle or on foot. So, given these figures, I guess the question is, how can we support sustainable practices while living in a world where cars are required in many places? Several automakers are investigating this very issue. Professor Palmer, would you like to begin?
Thank you. Many businesses are implementing sustainable or green policy as an active form of corporate social responsibility, or CSR. CSR is a practice where businesses go beyond simply generating profit and work to fulfill the needs of society. One form of CSR involves promoting sustainable business practices, known as green practices and consumer products. Now, something is sustainable if it encourages the responsible use of natural resources and minimizes pollution or any other harm done to the environment. There are some automakers that have been founded on this belief and have found some success. And because the demand from the public for more sustainable products has increased, more automakers are joining suit. They all hope to promote sustainability through socially responsible business practices. In other words, they want to improve the world and at the same time succeed as a business. Dr. Walters, could you fill us in on how some of these large corporations are working to achieve these goals?
Thanks, Professor Palmer. Many companies are joining the electric car or hybrid car bandwagon. Now, there is a distinct difference between hybrid and electric. Electric cars, like the ones being produced by Tesla, are unique. Unlike hybrid cars that use a combination of electricity and gasoline, electric cars are entirely electric. In his lecture on environmental business policy last week, Professor Palmer discussed how current anti-pollution measures, such as carbon taxes, are not really adequate ways to limit pollution in a world where automobiles are so common. So companies like Tesla are simply operating according to one of the guiding principles of corporate social responsibility. That is, the reality that laws and regulation take a very long time to catch up to the needs of customers and the environment. Now, in these circumstances, I believe that businesses can and should lead the way towards positive change. So, by promoting innovation with an environmentally and consumer-friendly product, these companies can demonstrate environmentally sustainable business practices while still being a profitable business. There are still some concerns to be addressed, however. Could you fill us in, Professor Matthias?
I'll be glad to. The main difficulty is simple. While these cars do run on electric power, they may be entirely free of fossil fuel use once they are operational. However, the manufacture of those cars is not. Building an electric vehicle is just as environmentally damaging as building any other kind of car. More importantly, charging the batteries requires electricity, and this still requires electrical power to be generated somehow. And this places a meaningful burden on the power grid, which is usually powered via unsustainable forms of energy. Now, I've gone through a variety of technical journals examining the fuel efficiency of many of these cars, and unfortunately, most analysts agree that their fuel efficiency begins to justify itself compared to gasoline-powered automobiles only after thousands of miles of driving. In order for electric cars to be fully sustainable, the system of production, fueling, and maintenance also needs to be environmentally friendly. This doesn't exist today.
I see. So everything isn't quite up to the level it needs to be yet. Any thoughts?
Well, I think it's worth noting that this technology is still quite new. The fact that, by itself, driving an electric car doesn't single-handedly fix every environmental problem we are facing isn't a negative aspect of the car. I think it's instead a reflection of just how much work we need to do to change our entire energy system. Companies like Tesla and Koda, which offers energy storage systems and modern batteries, are working to make each step of production more sustainable. But this sort of thing doesn't just happen right away. For example, one way these companies have worked towards this is to make all their patents open source, essentially meaning that anyone at any other business can freely use the information on much of their technology to build their own electric cars and equipment. This is an unprecedented act of goodwill on the part of a company and in no way driven by profit.
Well, I think something like that can be both an act of goodwill and profitable. After all, a core idea behind many corporate social responsibility practices is that businesses can be profitable while they're doing meaningful good in the world. As more companies work on making electric cars and the equipment required to use them, the costs of production will become cheaper. This efficiency will make electric cars more sustainable, but let's not forget that it helps with profit as well.
That may be true, but is it so odd that the profitable choice and the environmentally aware choice are the same thing in this case? After all, companies with ties to electric car manufacturers have recently invested a great deal of money into a related solar cell manufacturing and development wing. Now, this is both a sound business investment with solar on the rise and an environmentally conscientious one. And as solar power becomes more readily available, the cost of powering an electric car using clean energy will gradually become cheaper and cheaper than fossil fuels.